I always see people constantly dog and dogpile on America and hate it. They say America's garbage, America's evil, and all this stuff. I want to keep it a being with you. I've traveled to Japan, I've been to China, I've been to Thailand, I've been multiple other places. And America is just objectively the best place I've lived. It is a dreamscape of a place to live. There is obvious issues with the way things operate on a fundamental level. There's issues with race, there's issues with gender and things of that variety. But the fact that we can argue about that, the fact that we can talk about that, and we don't have to worry about toiletries, we don't have to worry about bigger things. We can get enough money to get by. There's a lot of programs put in place. Sure, Donald Trump may be dismantling a lot of those programs right now. I'm not really sure what's going on there. But before Trump, let's talk about that. Let's say that. This was pretty good. I was having a pretty good time. It's easier to be homeless in America than anywhere else. Because I'm going to explain how I was homeless in America. When I was homeless in America, I went behind bakeries and I would get food. I lived basically inside of a garbage can. I would go visit old people in the hospital, and that was really fun. That got me a lot of food. That got me a lot of it, a crazy amount of food. It was nuts. I was able to go to shelters. I was able to get a job. I got a factory job at Amazon. That was pretty easy and efficient. It was pretty simple. And I know it's draining work. It's so draining. But that helped me get health care after my 90 days. I got 90 days at Amazon, and then bada bing, bada boom, they ended up giving me health care. That was pretty chill. I was very happy about that. I contributed to the capitalist structure and became a cog in a machine, and I was able to get a decent living. I stayed in a very low-end apartment in Detroit. That's where I lived at, and I paid $700 a month for my one bedroom, and I was not in a very good neighborhood, but I was living. I had a toilet. I was able to buy groceries. I had 1,000 gigabyte internet. I had 1,000 up, 1,000 down. I had fiber optic internet in Detroit in a $700 apartment, and I was able to make videos and do stuff of that variety. That wasn't that bad. That was pretty chill. That's more than most other places. And I will say this. The food in other places is a lot better. Japan's food is better, 100%. Chinese food feels great. It's not even Chinese food in China. It's just regular food. Japanese food felt healthier. Italian food, when I was in Italy, that felt way healthier. It was a walkable city. You could walk throughout the entire city. And I agree that those are better cities and they have healthier food. America is cheap and over-manufactured, and it's a capitalist drudgery. But in terms of progressiveness and overall quality of life, it's pretty good. You can die the way you want to here. If I want to die eating a Big Mac, I can die eating a Big Mac. I'm very happy to be in America, despite the faults. But every country has faults. For instance, Japan has a horrifying, evil, disgusting work culture, and that is bad. And Japan is very notoriously evil towards homosexual people. That's just what happens there. Same with China. They're not very happy towards black people there. When I was in China and Japan, they constantly called me Chris Rock. That's what they called me. In Seoul, when I was in Seoul in Korea, they constantly told me to bleach my skin because I was dirty. They continually told me to bleach my skin. They also, for some reason, had basically no deodorant. Not sure what that was going on about. Apparently, there's a gene they have called AABBCC, something like that, AABBII, something that where they don't sweat or perspirate that crazy. I'm not really sure what that was about. On Jeju, they had horse ribs, and the horse ribs were pretty good. They eat horse there. They eat horse in Jeju in South Korea. They eat horse. So that was pretty chill. But that's what happened when I was in the Asian countries. And when I was in Russia, they were horrifically it felt like you couldn't be gay in Russia. You can be openly gay here, and it's pretty chill. And Canada is America Light. I'm not going to act like it's not. Canada is just America Light with a lot less money there. That's how it is. America, each state feels like an entirely different area. Ohio was not the exact same as Michigan. They have different laws and subsections. It feels like separate countries within America because of the different state rules and laws. It's very different. Texas is so much different than Michigan. Texas is wildly different than Minnesota. Minnesota is different than North Carolina. North Carolina is different than Oregon. They feel like completely different areas. They feel like different realities you're walking in through and to. And when you go into another place, all of Japan feels pretty similar. It feels pretty similar throughout most to all of Japan. It feels very similar to how they operate outside of the countryside. And maybe Osaka. Osaka feels really wild. And Kyoto is a very big city. It's very nice. But this is what it means to be American. It's fun to be here. All the food here is dessert, though. I will complain about that. The food here is basically dessert. It feels weird that most of the food here is dessert. I don't know why that is. Who's to say? Who's to say why most of the food here is dessert? I can't tell you why most of the food here is dessert, but it does feel nice to have the option to choose to, die by diabetes. It just feels great. But I keep seeing people constantly dog on America because America is stereotyped in the other parts of the world. A lot of people think that as a black man, I know all about gangster hood rap. And when I leave the country, a lot of people say, oh, you know about the black people and the do-rags and the stuff like that. Mostly in Asian-speaking countries, to be quite real with you. And when I was in Greenland, was I Iceland or Greenland? I was in Greenland. It was nippier. It was colder in Greenland. I was in Greenland, and they just thought that I was a hood gangster. They assumed that I knew everything about the Bloods and the Crips and that I knew Snoop Dogg. It was crazy. It felt strange to witness that because I had my afro out. They assumed that, oh, every black person just keeps their afro out. That's pretty cool. That was their exposure to American culture. Because do you research the Easter Islands? Do you research Russian history? Do you look back and see the nuances of Japanese history? You looking up Australian history? No. They don't know all about American history and what happened with black people and stuff like that. They don't care about it. The rest of the world isn't looking up black American history. They're not doing that. You know what they're doing? They're worrying about their own history and not even that all the time. They're not doing that. They're not caring about all this stuff in America. Americans should care about America because we live here and we should want to make it better, and we should try our best to fix the systems that are destroying and propagating within it and be an active member of what society is and make it better. I love being in America because it is notoriously easy to live here. It is easy to live here. It's hard if you are trans. It is hard if you are black. It's hard if you are a bunch of things. But even with those restrictions, it's still very easy to live here. Much easier than anywhere else in the world. If you're trans and move to Russia, don't do that. If you're trans and go to Korea, don't do that. If you're trans and go to Thailand, Thailand may accept you. They have a whole culture. They may accept you there. It's a weird statement. It's a weird feeling in my body, in my breast, in my chest, where people constantly dog and damage the idea of America because it's pretty cool. I haven't had a crazy amount of issues. It's pretty nice here. I like it more than every other place I've visited. The other places have beauties and differences, but I think what the issue is that they're new. It's because Americans don't see it. They say, oh, I lost weight when I went to Italy. It's because it's a walkable city and the ingredients are healthier. Well, I drank their pop out there and it was healthier. You're 100% correct. You are correct about that. It is healthier out there. The food is less manufactured. You're 100% right about that. And it's a walkable city. You're walking a lot more and you want to see a lot more. People often say that all the time. I know one of my friends moved to Thailand because he said the women out there love him. It's cheap there. I don't want to move back. And I'm happy for him. And if I could have the money to move to a different place and still make the same money I make right now but live in a cheaper place that's prettier, I would do so. But I have family here and things of that variety. I want to contact those people. I have friends here. And I don't speak the language of the places I want to go yet. I could learn, but I'm American and I don't want to. And I'm happy to be what I am. I love America. I love America a lot.